We are Greg and Leah, the host of Evolve, the #1 podcast about relationships, and not just the tender or toxic romantic ones, but all kinds of relationships with many people, places, and paths.
We aren't here because we know or understand it all, simply because we are working to evolve and asking others to join the evolution.
So join us in this next episode of Evolve. Welcome to another episode of Evolve with Greg.
Leah.
You gave me an opportunity to do that, and I just failed miserably, but that's the way it is.
Yeah,
so.
oh well, it is what it is. So what's today's episode about, Mr. Bill?
So today's episode is about our relationship with music, and so that's a very exciting topic for me because...
And unfortunately, it's going to be a short episode for me.
Unfortunately, yeah. So, you said that you wanted me to start out, and my first relationship with music had to be from my mama.
And I wish you could see the sparkle in his eyes. When he talks about music, he gets pretty sparkly.
I can remember her putting her Ricky Nelson on and her vacuum cleaner going. This was before
So
there was
early
a
late 60s, probably.
I mean, we had one of these stereos that...
The size of a coffee table.
It was the size of a coffin. The record player. It was a stereo system that she got from her grandfather or from her dad in our house. But it was a record player that she played her 45s on.
My dad had a huge reel-to-reel that he played stuff on. Did you have one of those?
Yes,
he had a massive stereo system with a reel-to-reel.
My grandfather then, and I guess it went back further than that. My grandfather was big band. Big band stuff. And so he liked, his favorite band was the Benny Goodman band.
I might know him if I heard him.
And Benny Goodman played guitar. No, I mean, damn, that's stupid. Clarinet. God damn it.
Too much smoking.
Yeah, right. So that's what inspired me. I first started out playing a recorder, like every little kid in middle school.
Did you have to play music in your school? Like, your parents wanted you to play music? Or did you just, were you drawn to it because of music in the home?
Well, in school, you get music class in elementary school.
Okay. Not anymore, but
I don't know. We would go to music, and
okay.
One of the weeks that in music class was introduced the instrument, the recorder.
I feel like all kids started there, but yeah.
And I remember, I think I paid $1
for your recorder.
No, 25 cents for it was a plastic.
What?
I paid $1 for the wooden one that I had for the longest time, and I don't even know what happened.
Inflation has changed things.
But I love that.
And I love when you play it and you pick it up and you play some songs.
I had always been a tall
being
boy, and
I've always been a tall boy
because I played the recorder, I guess, a hell of a lot better than I acted, because I tried out for the Tin Woodsman.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Peter Pan
in the Wizard of Oz,
oh.
But I got to be the lead munchkin and.
What?
I was a fucking munchkin. Because
I was the tallest kid of Munchkin.
I was the tallest.
That's how bad your acting was.
That's how bad my acting was. That's how good I played
the recorder.
Because
I
played Follow the Yellow Brick Road on the recorder while they followed me.
Oh, okay. Like the Pied Piper.
Yeah.
So music was always in your home. It was always a positive experience.
I believe it definitely came from, both sides, because my grandmother on my dad's side, she was...
Well, and your dad loved his
Elvis.
Rock Burning Love, or what is it?
Elvis Presley, I think.
Yeah.
That's all I ever...
And your dad liked a lot of that, I don't know, Western kind of funky sounds.
He liked
But yeah, so music was a positive thing in your life. So how did you evolve in life with music? You played the recorder.
So I played the recorder, and then I played the clarinet, and I played in big band. I played marching band I
made the newspaper.
Yeah. I was quite
Were you first chair? I didn't even know about chairs until I met you. I'm like, what the hell is first chair? I was
first chair in my middle school, and that's where I went from I went to all county and all state. Not all state. I didn't make all state.
You could have been the next Kenny G of the, not of the. No. He played sax, but
in the county in Broward County, which it was the county that I went to school in. I was 8th chair in the North District, but then when I got to this all county one, which I made by the skin of my teeth, I was like 22nd chair. So
you weren't as good as you told me?
I wasn't as good as... I did have medals and stuff because we had to have competitions. And
all right, so you transitioned from there, playing instruments, to high school.
Well, in high school...
Like, it wasn't cool anymore to be...
It was cool in the high school that I went to be in the band. The band and the football team were quite popular.
Which, if you go back to other episodes, Greg has shared that he was at an all-black school down south.
Mostly black school.
So you're talking music lovers and dance
that's where I learned. That's where I actually in high school is where I appreciated other people's talent rather than my own.
And drum lines.
Drum
lines make you cry to even talking about it right now. Good gracious.
And my best friend Rex. In high school, played guitar, and he.
Oh, so this is the transition to a different style.
Well, actually, no, that's not quite true. Before I met Rex, my buddy Jimmy and I, when this was still middle school, we would it was middle school because Kiss came popular. So him and I dressed up as Gene Simmons and Ace Frehley.
And wait, high school or middle school?
Middle school. And
played
okay. Hotter Than Hell for my parents.
Like, with what instruments?
Brooms.
Okay.
We dressed up, we put paint.
I was like, you didn't play that with a clarinet?
No.
Or a recorder?
We had fake guitars. I made out of cardboard an axe guitar. And so we dressed up and played, and Ace Frehley probably was my... Ace Frehley and the drummer Paul Stanley? No, Paul Stanley was a singer. Peter Criss was...
you can say anything and I won't know.
Those two were very pivotal in my love for guitar. And then when I met Rex in high school, he played guitar, and he actually... If you've seen the pictures of him as a young kid, and then you've seen the pictures of Eddie Van Halen as a young kid,
oh yeah,
they look the same. I mean, pretty much the same. And so he turned me on to Eddie, and that's when I fell in love with Van Halen.
Which you're still on that space, essentially. But now you're also good with what? What do you want to say?
Oh, I don't know. I was gonna say that's probably was pretty much my popular band through high school until. Well, before that, I guess my brother when he lived with us, there was music that he liked, and Sabbath was one of them. And I didn't realize that I had liked Black Sabbath as much as I did.
Until recently, and started listening again to a lot of the lyrics and
funny,
stuff.
The trip on a lot of... Where we are now in Colorado is where we were when I was a 19-year-old kid.
You've come full circle.
And... that trip here, we didn't have... I had a Walkman with two cassettes, albums.
Yeah, that's all you had for the whole trip.
And the radio, that was all I had. So as we were driving down the road, it wasned like today where you had Sirius.
You had your phone with everything on
right.
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So you were at the mercy of... And when we were driving through Texas and Kansas and all those places...
These long, boring places.
I mean, our son was having a conniption just because he didn't have internet. I didn't have nothing. And when you left Fort Lauderdale, everybody went country.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
It's
I don't even want to hear.
It's still like that in a lot of the heartland and a lot of the
I remember
southern only country.
In a Texas rest stop, we stopped to have breakfast. And I'm sitting at the table, and I'm trying to make a pass at the
waitress.
Yeah,
sounds nothing like you.
She's a cutie, and there's Journey playing on the radio, on the whatever the
PA or whatever.
PA.
Yeah.
and I don't know that I don't know where the hell we're at, but we're in Texas, and I should have realized she's wearing a cowboy hat and boots, and she's serving us. I think we're at Denny's or something like that. Anyway, I asked her what she thought of Steve Perry, and she said, "Who?" And my dad just starts laughing.
Sounds a little bit like when you met me and you said Peter Frampton, and I said, "Who?" And you're like,
exactly.
"You're kidding.
You're kidding, right?
You're kidding.
You don't know who
You're
Peter
kidding."
Frampton is."
And that's where, like, your and I's upbringing is very different.
You were not allowed to listen to any
Not
of
just
that
my mom, and you can look back. I don't know if we talked about it in other episodes, like our spiritual, like what our parents were.
Right.
And, yeah, I think we did, because I talked about my mom being Catholic, left her parents' faith to go to Baptist, left Baptist to go to hyper Pentecostal, and that was the early 80s. So Satanic Panic took over.
So
I grew up
as
with
you
Satanic
say
Panic.
that,
So
Rex,
music was not allowed.
My buddy Rex,
Not that kind of music.
who had turned me on to Van Halen, he is Pentecostal, and his mother is.
Oh, so she's saying all the same things. Yeah.
So
burn the discs.
she had me
there was
come-
no CDs. Yeah, it was records.
So him and I
Cassettes.
went to a youth group together, and they were praying in tongues and stuff. And that
Yeah,
was my first experience of that. But she had us take. She got a reel to reel.
Oh, and play it backwards.
She played
Yes,
Led
yes,
Zeppelin's
yes.
"Stairway to Heaven" backwards for
Right,
us.
and it says
And so-
"Start to smoke marijuana."
I
think it says "Start to smoke marijuana."
No, I don't remember that. It said "There's power in Satan."
Oh, it could have been that one. I don't know, because we even as kids had to watch like all the videos and documentaries about this.
Oh yeah. I remember.
Like, I mean, so music. That's why I asked you: was it a positive experience in your home?
So
it was scary and negative in my home.
Taking that same experience, he went more into a religious standpoint, but he did like Van Halen. It was hard, and then it made me. I came home and I said to my mother, I'm like, oh my God, I had
Yeah, I know.
I
You told
had
me you
just
had
bought
this.
I had just bought, I believe it was AC/DC Back in Black, and I asked her. I had the album, and I
See,
said,
all these guys were on those albums. All the
and
Satanic
it was
Panic.
a black. It was all it is. It's a black album. It says AC/DC, and it has in between the AC and the DC, it has a lightning bolt.
Yeah.
And according to this
Pentecostal beliefs.
belief,
Yes.
that AC/DC was the lightning bolt represented how
Satan fell
was,
from heaven.
Yeah,
Yes.
was
Oh,
thrown,
I could tell you
and
it all.
they were
Like-
worshiping. They were devil worshippers.
Oh, yeah.
And whether they were or whether they weren't, the drums on the beats that they could produce.
but that's what, like, in the
and that was what they say
conjured
like, okay,
spirits.
Yeah,
and
you were
stuff.
conjuring
Yeah,
spirits.
yeah,
I remember. So at the time, one of my absolute favorite songs was "The Wizard" by Black Sabbath.
You might have played. I don't know song
And
titles, so
it's the song that they play the. What do you call that?
Harmonica?
Harmonica, yeah. It's,
Okay, that doesn't
I mean,
mean anything
and
to
I
me.
was told that whole riff
Oh.
was drumming up evil
yeah.
spirits.
Yeah.
And if you ever listen to the song, everybody's happy about the wizard coming by. I mean,
Right.
He's making joy.
Well, see, and my father was into a lot of that music. His favorite was Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
But all I can remember, because again, I was being programmed they were already divorced at this time. I was being programmed by my mom, who had full custody or sole custody, like most custody. What's that called? Full custody.
Yeah.
So I was constantly hearing how evil this was. So when we'd be in his car or at the house and he'd play Pink Floyd, there's that one song that starts with like, sounds like freaking helicopters. Still makes me a little eerie to this day. Because I remember being in the backseat of his car as a little kid and just feeling like,
I think it's called.
like just feeling like something was chasing me and haunting me and hunting me.
Which is funny you mention it. I think
like,
that's Comfortably Numb, which is about an
I'd have to have you
acid
play it
trip
to
or
see.
mushroom trip.
Oh,
Which
interesting. So we'll have to play it, but it sounds like helicopters or something
Right.
very violent.
I think that's
so.
the one,
I had
yeah.
a very negative experience with actual music, like secular. That's the word I want to say. Secular music
Right.
in my lifetime. We only in my mother's home, which I lived in more in a week than my father's. It was praise and worship music. So
See, we never
I
had any-
became very spiritual and very connected to like all of those softer melodies.
We never
I love
had
soft melodies.
praise and worship music. We had
Well, the fact that you went home,
gospel music.
but the fact that you went home and told your mom that someone told you to destroy this album, and she said you didn't finish the story.
The story was,
Yeah.
she said to me, look, if you are looking for the devil
Right.
in that album,
Right.
you're going to find it. If you're
Yeah,
looking for
yeah,
the
yeah,
devil
yeah.
in that, and she pointed to a basketball. If you're looking for the devil in that basketball, you're going to find it. Are you looking for the devil? And I said, I'm not looking for the devil. It's just got great beats, and I love the music. Then she says, then enjoy the music. And she gave me the freedom to enjoy the music. And it wasn't until I think I came full circle and came in back after crashing and burning my life.
Later, like right before I met you.
That I stopped.
And then, of course, when I met
to-
you, I helped, we helped say, like, this is bad. So Eminem was coming up, and, like, different people were like, that's devil music. Like, we kind of kept that narrative going.
Extremely.
But we loved our DC Talk
Right.
and, like, Sonic Flood, and we found, bands that, praised the Lord, but had the same damn sound. So what the whole thing about the drum beats and whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. But music's evolution in my own life, I mean, you have more of a story that, like, it went from, like, playing music to hardcore to worship to now back to looking at the lyrics of those songs you started with and finding,
and
like,
that's
that
what
you
I was gonna
identify with them better.
Well,
I don't have as much transition.
I listen to music over and over. I was one of those kids that I would have a mixtape that I would make, or I would wait on the...
I did too.
We
I
actually
had stuff I listened
if
to.
a new song came out, we actually had to wait for the song, the DJ to play
to
the
play
song
it and then hit record.
Yes.
Yes.
And so
I'm in the same era.
I remember coming, like I said, as a kid, coming and traveling, and there was only two albums that I had on my journey here, and it happened to be Ozzy, Blizzard of Oz, and Ozzy, Diary of a Madman. And so I listened to that constantly because, oh my God, it was.
But see, like, your parents still, though. I mean, it's so crazy how different they were, but both homes were quote-unquote Christian homes.
Right.
Like, you were allowed to listen to this stuff. You were allowed to have Playboy. Your dad had Playboy in the house. Like, you guys, went to church but didn't do these things, but did these. Like, my home was, like, every day God. So if you weren't listening to music that glorified God, if you weren't having quiet time that glorified God and made yourself better, if you weren't reading your Bible, if you weren't dressing modestly, like... It was so much. So I don't have the same story of you of music being so engaging. I will say, though, that I've always been a hummer. Like, and not necessarily any specific tunes, but, like, I'm definitely always drawn to piano, violin. Like, I love softer tones. I love the drum circle. Like, now I do love the drum lines, and I do love live music and stuff. But I probably will never like heavy metal like you liked. Is that what you call yours? Heavy metal?
I don't know. If
rock and roll. Like, I mean, it's not the most
it's
enjoyable
probably
to
rock. It's not rock and roll, because rock and roll, in my opinion, sorry.
Rock and roll would be like...
Rock and roll is like...
Your mom's
the Beatles,
music?
and not to say I don't like rock and roll, but that kind of stuff.
So
Beach
would you
Boys,
say
Beatles.
heavy metal was like your
Heavy
thing?
metal is
like Metallica?
It's way more than...
Screamo music?
Yeah, it's Metallica. I borderline, there's some about Metallica I like, but I'm more of a... it's more of a rhythm and blues...
No, I don't think so.
If you think about it,
Van
no.
Halen and like...
You say
the
that.
things you listen to is like... Wow, 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 wow.
It's true. That's
and like a lot
some of the 80s rock
kind of stuff,
yes.
I feel like.
But the general part of it is like Led Zeppelin. It goes the low part of like Led Zeppelin all the way up to maybe... I mean... Black Sabbath and Ozzy are
I can listen to them sometimes if I'm hearing the lyrics,
but they're
but
not
I don't
as,
like the
they're
tone.
not they're not
I don't like the sound.
I don't know. It's not a throat screamy. I guess it could be.
Yeah, sometimes it is. Okay, so let me get to a topic because I don't want to take too long, too much longer. But how would you say music has affected your evolution and like your maturing and like moving through life positively?
Music has been go-to it's like the
Music sets your mood.
Catalyst to get to the mood I want to be in. So,
or it's a response to the mood you are in.
It could be, yes, and there are certain songs that have really strong meanings that are like even like 5150 album of Van Halen was
You're telling me things I don't really know.
Maybe the audience could know.
Okay.
That's why I'm name dropping those
true,
things.
Okay.
So
if they're your age or like this older music,
was a time where I was going through divorce, so it was a fu to you.
Okay,
and
okay.
So a lot of the songs, he was actually going through the same things with.
Do you
Valerie.
feel like a lot of your music was angry music? Answer just yes or no.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to say I didn't have angry music in my life. So just a year ago and a half ago, I was really angry about some stuff that had unfolded in our life. I Googled angry music. Because I didn't even know, I didn't have angry music tracked to my life. Like, you could go to something and be like, I am playing this song and I'm mad. And like, I didn't have that. I actually had to Google angry music. And what I got was actually pretty cool. It wasn't anything you would think. It was more like Viking soundtrack. But that's how bad, like, I didn't have music to my mood. I had music to my soul. Like, this spiritually made me feel like I was ascending or transcending or getting closer to God in the past. And like, even now, like, the drum circle that we get to go to in town, like, I just love to be in there because I feel like I am just absorbing like the life beat of the earth, the life beat of my fellow dancers, like, but humming has always been a thing for me. Like, that is a definite thing, to the point that like when I started my full-time job, back when I turned 40, went back into the workforce after staying home with the boy and stuff, I walked by the shelf and I saw this book. Here's our book rec, because we failed to do it last episode, by Jonathan Goldman and his wife Andi Goldman, and it's called The Humming Effect: Sound Healing for Health and Happiness. And I feel like, I mean, maybe you can agree or disagree, like, music has such the power to heal.
Oh, definitely.
And to make you whole. But it could also, like you said, you could also go to be depressed. Like, you had songs you would go to be depressed to, which I will say I had sad songs. Like, a breakup or something would make me think of, you know, this song or that song when I was younger. And you'd want to cry during the song, and you like how you felt sad. But, like, I didn't have angry music very often. But just that it does set a tone for you, for your soul. But there is huge healing effect that can be in music. And also, I feel like maybe the flip side. You could also really go down a very dark path of just depression and hate yourself. And because there is music I wouldn't say is healthy for your evolution. Like, just real ugly.
I think it's a matter of opinion on that. I guess so. Don't have... because like someone could say, "Oh my gosh, you listen to Ozzy and he bites the heads off of grass," and yeah, but if you listen to some of his words,
and that's what I'm saying. I think as we've been, going back at this point and just being able to be like, let's go back to some things we were told were wrong. Like, you say a lot in the episodes. Who told you that?
Right.
Who said you were naked? Kind of thing. Who said that? And we go back and we're like, you know what? We don't know who said that. So let's go back and look for ourselves. Right. Eminem, I just love listening to him sometimes now because we preach so much against that in youth ministry in the years back that now we're like, gosh, man, this kid was he was a hurting soul at times, and you could hear it just hurting through his mother and what she had done, his own addictions, his own choices. But like, looking to improve as well, and you can see as his music evolves over time. But I would definitely say, I don't know if you have a recommendation, but like the Humming Effect was huge, and then they also have tracks online to be able to recalibrate like your chakras, your body, by going through the vowels like A, E, I, O, U, and just finding the pitches that you would say that your scales, that's the word, in music class that you would have done.
Well,
and like that, those resonate and reverberate in the body and have actual healing effects.
You take a guitar, 3 guitars in a room, and play one strum off
right.
of one. It'll sing to the other ones, and they'll find the tone.
I think you can do that with pianos or any stringed instrument.
And so you are nothing but a vibration as well.
Correct.
So getting in tune with your surroundings is very vital to your health. Getting your essentially getting your piano tuned.
Right.
And you mentioned the chakras and
yeah. And I mean, we've been working on this for like 5 or 7 years now, and it's just like turning on solfeggio. Is that, I'm not even sure if we're saying it right, but like specific frequencies for specific purposes.
Well,
and how quickly you reset if you're in a bad mood. And
what's our friend's name with the sound bowls?
Oh, Siobhan?
Siobhan.
Yeah, we have a couple of friends who do sound bowls and sound healing and sound baths. But God, yeah, when we first met her, and she put these massive bowls on her chest and on our back, and it was crazy.
Amazing.
Oh, and you ended up winning that whole like sound bath. Yeah, that's right. We had like an hour of it, full on hour of just feeling like you leave your body at a point, because like you said, our cells are nothing but vibrations, and when we start like syncing with other vibrations, it's as if we meld all into one. We return to that oneness that exists in all.
It is
so
like,
it's huge.
Like the drum circle you've referred to that we attend. There is an acceptance rule that's there.
Yeah.
That everybody.
Anyone can come and
so there's children.
Be anything.
There's
be who you are.
All the way to
elderly.
And the all becoming into one accord. Literally one accord.
And just truly having fun and feeling the rhythm.
And the rhythms and just
being barefoot. I know it sounds super hippie, but
yeah, it does.
But the hippies were bringing back like returning to nature, and we get away. We cycle through this in humanity. We come around, then we leave it, and we want technology, and we want advancement, and then we come around, and we want but
now the hippies got eye watches.
yeah, it's true. It's a mix now for sure. But
they pull up on their one wheels, So.
But I would say, like, definitely find what resonates for yourself. Like I said, I'll never resonate with your music, most likely, and you don't always love mine. You're like, oh my God, this is like too churchy and too like slow and soft. It almost our music annoys one another. But if I put on my headphones and have my time and you have your time with your headphones, we used to do that a lot in the beginning, and you'd be jumping around the living room with your music and crying. I'd wake up in the morning and you'd be like sobbing, and I'm like, what are you doing? And you're like, just listen to my music. But it just, you find what resonates for you, but let it be something that's moving you, evolving you to your best self. For sure. And I don't know if you have any recommendations before we sign off. Like I said, I will put the humming effect and links for that in the description. Is there anything that you want to throw out besides like my favorite band? I mean, like,
I don't know. No, I just find what you like and
and let it like I said, turn you to your best self. Because I do feel like we could find the worst music out there that makes us feel depressed regularly, feel lonely, feel sad, feel isolated. And that's not helping us be our best self and having the most positive mindset. So find what pulls you up to your highest self for sure. Anything else you want to say?
Like, subscribe, and comment. If you like, if you even know who Black Sabbath is.
Oh my God. That's not your favorite band. Don't even try to say that's your favorite band. It's Van Halen. I'll just tell you all. Yeah. It's Van Halen. And when Eddie died, I think my son actually bought him the Time magazine that we still have. He's crying now. But that's, a really important magazine to him. And it really mattered to him because of where he was in his life. And it was like you were becoming yourself in that season.
It's funny, Mike. So all of my kids called me that day. Are you okay, Dad?
Yeah. It was a big deal for sure. So he loves some Eddie. I don't have anyone that I liked like that, but anyways, yes. Until next time, everyone, be evolving people, and I hope that the right, perfect music will be part of that process.